All right. Dopamine. So, we all know our dopamine is like absolutely cooked, right? But how cooked is it? First, we need to understand what dopamine is, though, to really understand, you know, the system and how it works, right? Everyone thinks that dopamine is happiness, but it's actually not. It's the motivator that makes happiness, or well, I guess I should say it's the motivator for the build up to happiness, right? So those it's not happiness, okay? So those good feel hormones though that actually are happiness, like serotonin, oxytocin, endorphins, depending on what the feel good is, of course. But something like swiping on TikTok or Instagram or whatever it is. A perfect example, bro, is like just swiping and swiping nonstop. Like the first time you ever scrolled, if you could really just like pull it out of the filing cabinet in your brain, the archives in your brain, right? If you could go all the way back to the first fucking scroll you had, right? First scroll, it probably gave you a little bit of happiness. It was like, oh, cool, it's a cool video. You might have got a video like fucking Pawn Stars, like those little clips you see on YouTube Shorts about Pawn Stars. Let me bring in my expert on katanas, and some guy buys a or sells a $40,000 katana, right? So something stupid like that, right? It gave you a little bit of happiness forever ago, though, right? Those don't entertain us as much anymore, and we need too much to be really just entertained. Um, so how these happiness things work actually is the more you experience it, the less the happiness hits you every time that you experience this happiness over and over and over again. Um, and that's why you have an average view time on TikTok of 3 seconds per video. It's wild to me, but to get off the obvious thing of scrolling, talk about things like sex. Like bro, you bang for the first time and you're addicted. Then it gets boring. Then you go for another girl, right? So or guy, whatever, you know. So my theory on this, right? Or I should say what I truly believe, um, is that it's dopamine. Dopamine is the pusher for these things, even when there is no serotonin being squirted out of the brain, right? There is no serotonin, there's no oxytocin, there is no endorphins, really. There's barely anything left after you fucked for like the thousandth time. It's nothing. What's carrying these actions that, you know, you may say, why did I even do that? I didn't even really enjoy that. Why did I even do that? It's the dopamine, right? The dopamine is still there, but the serotonin, the oxytocin, the endorphins, they're not there anymore. And that's the problem, right? And I see that too. Is like that's why people get like addicted to sex and like all these just weird fetishes and kinks. Um, I think it's purely from like our cooked dopamine. I really couldn't see any other way that to put it. Like why would somebody really be into some of these things? Really think deep about that. Like some of these things are fucking nuts that these people are into. But yeah, and it's the older you get, it's always like when I was younger, I'd be like, dude, what the fuck are these people doing? Like, who does shit like this? I was thinking about it as I get older, like, okay, I kind of get it now. But when you're young, you're like, bro, I'm never doing that shit. Just straight up normal fucking is plentiful for me. Yeah. And you know, I'm a victim of being hijacked by my dopamine as well. We all are. Everybody is. There can't be a single person on the planet who isn't. You know. But you know that old saying. Um, it's the journey, not the destination, right? You know, that old unk saying. It's true. It's true now. Chemically, it's true in your brain now. Your brain is your brain still thinks it has a destination to get to. Right? The journey is what is really carrying, you know, and that's the dopamine. The journey is the dopamine. It is the motivator. Like I said earlier, it's not the happiness. It's not the end result. It's the result going up to the end result, and we don't really get that end result. Um, but yeah, that's literally what it is, and we're at a point today, man, where no man, no woman should be jizzing 10, 20, 30 times a month. It's not normal. It's the peak of hormonal feelings, you know, and like finishing, bro. That's the peak of hormonal feelings as a human. That is you passing off your gene, or that is you taking in genes to make new life, right? That is supposed to be the pinnacle of hormonal release, right? And it's it's really kind of sad to see in a dopamine being used in a way that the body never really intended for, right? It's a very powerful tool, a very powerful tool. Um, it's supposed to help us motivate self motivation to do important things, right? Right? You get your let's say you're a fucking hunter gatherer, right? You're fucking hunting. That is dopamine in the process of achieving that and endorphins at the end of the hunt, right? That's what you're gonna chase. And you're gonna chase that more and more and more. And to go even further with it, let's say you bring the hunt home to the tribe or whatever, right? There's some more good feelings like oxytocin, right? Bonding, right? And you want more of that. And the dopamine is gonna flood, knowing that you have the opportunity to do that again. And that's a powerful tool to have. Right? But it's been hijacked. Um, you know, these the dopamine real world sense, right? Today, children having children, eating food, sports, bonding time. These are all things that dopamine is supposed to lead up to. You know, these are things when you hear I'll get onto that later. Um so I personally like the topic of food, right? So I personally don't struggle with um, addiction to food or when somebody's like, dude, I'm really craving this food right now. Like I've never really fucking thought of that. Like I don't really crave food. I might walk in somewhere and be like, oh, this shit looks kind of nice. Maybe I'll eat it today. And I'll be like, I really don't need it, so whatever. But so I currently work night shifts at my job, right? And there's a snowstorm. If you know about it, if you live in the U.S., I live on the eastern kind of central side of right now, and there's a snowstorm, right? So I'm kind of stuck indoors. There's nothing. I try to eat healthy, right? And we all know fucking frosted flakes aren't fucking healthy, so this really does pertain to dopamine. Um, so I'm hungry as fuck, right? It's the second day in. I really didn't prepare for it. I really didn't even care. I really just cared I was off work. I could play some fucking games, you know. Um, so I end up finding frosted flakes in milk, something I haven't had in years and years and years. And I eat it, bro, and I get addicted to it. right? So every time I started to get hungry, after I got those feel goods from the sugar and whatnot, the addictive stuff, I was getting dopamine, motivation to think about Frosted Flakes. Obviously, I don't give a fuck about Frosted Flakes anymore. I got over that. But that is how easy your dopamine can hijack your life into whatever it wants, right? Something as simple as Frosted Flakes. Um, and and so I pretty much got um, tricked into being a fat ass for like a week on Frosted Flakes by dopamine. If you want to put in simple terms, so and what I was gonna get to earlier, and what I want to get to now is the term real dopamine. Right? We've all heard it. We've all tried it out, you know. But like we try it and it's cool. The idea is cool. Uh, but most of the time, it doesn't give you the same feelings as these, quote fake dopamines. It's like scrolling, right? You end up saying you're gonna go on a run, right? You go on that run. You had the dopamine to go on the run, but the second day doesn't feel as motivating because it didn't give you all those feel goods, or it didn't give you the spike that you were hoping for, right? And it's a gradual thing, right? These are gradual things. These real dopamines. That's why no one really hangs on to them. So, and that's how the body intended it to be, as a long process. And we've all done this, right? Thinking, let's try out this real dopamine, something that's gonna be good for my mental or physical well being, and you end up giving it up pretty quick, right? And to nerd out for a bit, right? The constant spikes in dopamine, these constant big spikes you get, cake, fucking scrolling, nutting, they downregulate how sensitive you are to dopamine, and how much dopamine it's going to take the next time to have that same feeling, making your body think, well, this is how life is supposed to be, right? And the body knows you're supposed to work hard for something, so it tries to replicate that same experience by uh, making your body need more dopamine to feel the same thing, or um, like yeah, just more dopamine, pretty much to feel the same thing, or you're just not going to be as sensitive. Your receptors won't be. Um, but something I've been wondering about. Maybe I'll make a video about it. It's pretty much going off of low forms of dopamine for like a good week. I used to not scroll, just like the cereal shit I talked about, fucking Frosted Flakes. I started it one day and was addicted to information. I got back on social media and I'm kind of just like addicted to information now. And I'm not saying to go live in the fucking woods and become a celibate monk and ban all phones, but like you need to be consciously consciously aware of what's happening to you on a daily basis. And these companies know what they're doing. They are profit maxing. And we are in an age where the data you produce is worth more than you. And I think for sure though, we definitely all need to be away from porn because it has definitely fucked everyone's understanding of what just normal one-on-one intimacy should be. But yeah, with this video, I want to hopefully enlighten someone for something, or at least relight some info for people who already knew. Every single thing is truly trying to squeeze and wring out as much dopamine as possible to get you addicted to everything that is happiness, and then it will eventually strip that happiness from you. Um, when in the end, eventually, all the happiness from those things are gone and you are just chasing that little drop of joy that you got the first, second, third, fifth, 10th time doing that same thing. It's like you're hitting a vape. Disclaimer, this is my take based on what I've read and experienced with dopamine, and I hope y'all enjoyed. Peace.